There's an affordability crisis in Northwest Territories. Here's a bill from Chris, a local resident in Yellowknife, $823.35. That's one bill in January. Another bill he also received to top up that tank again in January for another $1,128.88 for a total of $1,952.23 for 1 month, Minister, of which $199 of that is a carbon tax, and that is set to go up April 1st, as you know. The person that from Yellowknife is a person named Adam. He had to fill up his heating oil tank 3 times in January. Once for $499, once for $1,500, once for $730, for a total of $3,203.09 just in January. Carbon tax alone, $319.47. This is from Eric, also from Yellowknife. Sir, in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, I truly thank you for your efforts in the House to enlighten members of the challenge, all Northerners, your constituents as well, I live in Northern BC, to challenges of heating our homes and businesses. As you know, there are many regions that simply do not have heating alternatives to fossil fuels, at least until new technologies offer cost-acceptable alternatives. In addition to the add-ons of the carbon tax and the transportation of fuels to northern communities, the tax itself, along with the GST on top of that tax, is driving northern living costs well beyond reasonable financial tolerances, as I just laid out. I know you all know this, but as Northerners, it's difficult to understand how the current Liberal government is so out of touch with the realities of northern living costs. To suggest heat pumps are the answer, as the Liberals have suggested, is beyond comprehension. Keep up the good work on behalf of all Northerners and Canadians for that matter. Best regards, Eric. And now we see from the Northwest Territories, we see the new Premier is asking for an exemption because of these high costs to his citizens. Quote, I mean, ideally, a complete exemption for the Territory is what we would hope for, said R.J. Simpson, Premier of the Northwest Territories, just a few months ago, as you probably have heard. Northwest Territories previously had the residents, they gave their residents rebates, but your Ottawa Best government stepped in and would no longer allow Northwest Territories to rebate their citizens. This from the Deputy Premier. When the federal government recently made the changes to exempt home heating oil that didn't automatically apply, what they've done, they've changed the goalposts on us. Deputy Premier Wozniak said. And when others were granted a temporary carbon tax exemption on home heating oil and other provinces wanted an exemption, your colleague, Environment Minister Guilbeault, said, sorry, no more exemptions on my watch. As long as I'm the Environment Minister, there will be no more exemptions to carbon pricing, Guilbeault told Canadian Press in an interview. My question to you, Minister, is quite simple. Will you support the people of Northwest Territories and their government and exempt them from the carbon tax? Or will you support your colleague, Minister Guilbeault, and his promise, as long as I'm the Environment Minister, there will be no more exemptions to carbon pricing?
Thank you for asking a very fulsome question of almost 4 minutes. So I guess I'm going to get the rest of the time to actually answer without being cut off. I agree with you. There's a real affordability issue in the North and the Arctic. Fortunately, it's not new, but we're doing our best to address it. That's one of the reasons.
Well, the question, though, Minister, what you're saying, though.
I will answer it, but give me some time. Don't interrupt me.
Simple question. Do you support the people of Northwest Territories, or will you support your colleague, the Minister of the Environment?
I answer the question in a way as he asked
as we discussed, we get to ask.
Why we brought in $10 a day child care, something that saves families in Nunavut, in Northwest.
Excuse me, Minister.
In Yukon,
a question about the carbon
thousands
tax.
of dollars.
He's not even answering the question.
Children
Minister
under
is
12
about
years
carbon
old.
tax. This is my time. He's here to answer our questions.
Interrupting me.
I'm asking a question about the carbon tax, a very clear question, and I'll repeat it because I'll just so you know what the question is.
I'll just say, let me.
It's a carbon tax question.
Repeat your question.
Sure.
It'll go to the minister.
Right,
I'd say let's afford the minister time
to ask his question. You're going to ask him to repeat
it once again, and just to make it very clear, it makes it really easy to answer it, and you can choose. I gave you 2 options. Will you support? Will you support the people?
Your affordability question.
Mr.
You're not
Minister,
letting me.
I would love to ask you this question again, but you're interrupting me. This is my time, not yours.
You took 4 minutes to ask your question.
This is my time, though.
Let me
6 minutes belongs to me,
Mr. Chairperson.
He obviously doesn't want to answer a carbon tax question. I'll ask you once again, will you, Minister of Northern Affairs, will you support the people of Northwest Territories and specifically exempt Northwest Territories from the carbon tax? Because they're asking for an exemption This is the choice you can make as government. Or will you support your colleague, Minister Guilbeault, and his promise, as long as I'm the environment minister, there will be no more exemptions to carbon pricing? Which is it, Minister?
Okay, can I answer the question?
Yeah,
please.
There's 15 seconds left, so...
Come on. This is not real.
It's a simple question.
There's an affordability issue in the north. We brought in dental care.
That's
what I have to say on affordability.
we're out of time on